Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2010, it's an Infiniti, it's the EX35. Problem with this one here is it's a pretty clean-cut issue. The brakes are grinding and they need to be replaced. So we are going to do front and rear brakes. But before you do anything, you have to check to find out what you're going to need and what causes the brakes. Like this particular vehicle, the left side here, is a little bit thicker than the right side, where the right side is actually grinding right into the rotor. I did already take the right side apart because I needed to quote the customer a price on it, and I didn't film that part of it, but I will bring you over there and show you what the issue is over there and how we're going to correct that. I will show you on this side here how to take this apart. To take off the mounting bracket, take off the caliper from the mounting bracket is a little bit of a pain in the rear end, because the top bolt you could take out. The bottom bolt, when you unscrew it, it hits into one of the rods which runs right past it. So you cannot remove the lower bolt on the caliper to take the caliper off the mounting bracket. What you need to do to get that caliper off is you have to remove the mounting bracket with the bolt in there, and you pull it off of the vehicle, and you replace the you can lubricate the slide pins and change the hardware when you have it out. So I'm going to bring you in now. I'm going to show you. I know it's a little confusing, but I will show you step by step how to do it. I'm going to bring you over. I'll show you what the other side is and what was going on with that. Bottom line with that one is the caliper itself is in good condition. The mounting bracket is rusted solid, where I had to get in there with a hammer and hammer the brake pads out of the mounting bracket. To avoid a problem on that side, I am going to change the mounting bracket because there's a significant amount of rust in there. And when you have that much rust in there, even if you have it sandblasted, or if you get in there and you clean it with a file or sandpaper or whatever, I don't want to take a chance. The bracket's fairly cheap, so we're just going to go ahead and replace it. Because one thing you want to do is you want to do the job once out the door, and you're not going to have to worry about it for another 30, 40, 50,000 miles. So, all right, let me bring you over there. I'll show you what it looks like, and then we're going to get started on this side right here. So come on, let's take a walk. It's an unmistakable view of a rotor that's been grinding, right? All right. This, I just want to show you this first real quick. This is the caliper itself. The caliper piston push right back in, no problem with that. It's so I know that the caliper is not staying applied and not releasing properly. This is the mounting bracket here, and the mounting bracket is in really bad shape. You can see that that pad there is actually grinding. You can see it's grinding in there. That was the outer pad. The inner brake pad, which you can see I already took it out of there, that was rusted really badly. I had to pound that out of there with a hammer just to see what the mounting bracket looked like. And this bracket is what we're going to be replacing. We're not going to take a chance on using this over again. When this gets rusted like that and those pads don't move, you can sand it, you can file it, but I chose not to. I'm going to actually replace it because I don't want to have a problem with the comeback. So, all right, let's get back over to the other side, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. All right, now, remember I told you before that mounting bolt on the bottom there is a real pain in the you-know-what to get off. That upper bolt comes right out, no problem. The lower bolt, as you can see, as soon as you unscrew this bolt, it hits right into this rod right here, and you can't get it off. So what you'll need to do is loosen it, obviously, unscrew it partially out, and then we're going to take out this bolt here. I think this was a 19 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to come down underneath here, right down here, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take that 19 millimeter out too. Now, I will tell you that when you unscrew this 19 millimeter here, it does hit into this rod right here too, so you will need to play around to get that off. The way I do it is once you have this all totally disconnected, the rotor then moves, and that allows you the ability to pull this forward, back and forth to get that bolt out. But enough talking. Let's grab my tools, and we're going to get started. You're going to watch me do it step by step. So let me show you what you're going to need first. You're going to need a couple of wrenches, an 18, a 19, and the reason on two different wrenches because the 19 millimeter is the bolt that actually holds the mounting bracket to the car itself, and this is just for additional leverage. A 14, the 15 millimeter, a couple of sockets, of course, synthetic brake grease when we put this thing back together. And this is what we use to check to make sure what was going on with the caliper. The way I knew the other side was rusted so badly is because you get in here with a screwdriver, a pry bar, whatever you have, you put it through right in here, and then you take this and you pull constant pressure on this here, and you see how it moves all the way back in. Now what that does is it pushes the piston back into the bore. Let's see if you can see this here. It pushes that piston right there all the way back in to the bore where it's supposed to be. So now we know that the piston pushed in okay here, and now we're going to check the slide pins right here to make sure that they're okay. And now as you see, this one slides back and forth perfectly, no problem. All right, and that brake pad, which was inside over here, remember the one on the other side I said I had to change it? This one here actually slides back and forth too. A little bit stiff, but it does move, so we are going to lubricate this. We're going to change the hardware right here as well, and we are going to change this rotor because the rust lip on here, it's just too deep to go ahead and machine this rotor. So we are going to change these rotors at the same time. So, all right, let me get set up and let's get started. All right, I hope you can see this okay, but I know it's going to be a little bit difficult to see what's happening here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to break that bolt loose up top. That was a 14 millimeter. We're just going to break this loose, and we'll take that bolt totally out. But before we take it out of the vehicle all the way, we're going to come down on the bottom over here. You're not going to be able to get in here with the ratchet because it just doesn't fit in here. But you can use a wrench to break it loose. Now this rotor's a little bit tight, so we are going to tap this a little bit to get this off. Now you see that bolt won't come out all the way. I'm just going to tap the rotor just like that to get the rotor to move a little bit. And now that the rotor moved a little bit, I can take that bolt out. And I can take the other bolt out up on top. You see how the bottom is already loose now? Okay. Okay, we're going to put this off to the side now. Do not lose that washer. You need that washer on there. Now we're just going to take this mounting bracket off like this. And now you can take out the pin like that. See? And the reason I said to leave these in position is because this one you can see has no ring on it. This one has that rubber on there, so leave them where they came out so you don't make a mistake. We're going to take this over to the bench right now, and we're going to change these hardware kit, hardware kit right here with this. So, all right, we're going to put that down for now. We're going to take this, and we never want to let it hang by the hose. So we're just going to put this up on top of the upper arm, and we're going to leave it sit right there, and then take the rotor off like this, and that's it. That's your rotor, so that's it. All right, let me show you what we're up to here now. Okay? Now, if this has a lot of rust inside here, you'll need to clean this area up right here to get all that rust off. That's not the case here. This is actually very clean, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, our caliper now is relocated up and out of the way. I just want to point this out. We know that that piston pushed back in all the way the way it's supposed to, so we know that this caliper here is okay. So for now, we're just going to leave this sitting right here, right? And then we're going to go over to the bench, and we're going to get the hardware kit, and we're going to replace everything on here, everything on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these clips off like this, and this one also. Sometimes they're stuck. You need to get in here with the screwdriver. Sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed. Like that. Take this off. Now, remember what I said to you about a significant amount of rust? You see right inside there? There's a little bit of rust in this one, really nothing like the other side. So this mounting bracket, we are going to reuse this one. So we are going to take we're going to clean this up just a little bit inside here. We're going to grab our new hardware kit, and we're going to continue. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, and let's get started on the procedure to put it back together. Okay, now, remember we talked about putting the new hardware on the we have the new hardware, which usually comes with any kind of premium brake pads. It comes with it, but if not, purchase it. It's very important. Now, if this was very rusty inside here, like I said, you could take a file to it. You could file it very little. You really don't want to wear away a lot of the metal. You just want to get away some of that rust. All right, once you have it clean, you just take a little bit of lube, and you put it every place that the hardware is going to touch, like this. Just a little bit, it doesn't have to be a lot. Then you take your new hardware and you put it over the top like this, and you just push it down, and it snaps right in where it's supposed to be. You'll notice that a lot of the hardwares, they have little clips like this that actually fit right inside there. If not this, it'll be very similar. Again, just put it on the top like this, and you push it, and it pushes in all the way just like that. All right, now, next thing you want to do is you want to lubricate every place that your pins go. I always take a little bit of brake cleaner, just spray it a little bit to clean off any kind of dried up grease that's on there. And then we just take the new brake silicone and put it on here just like this, and put that pin back in the exact same spot that it came out. That's very important. It has to go in the same spot. Same thing here. And we'll just clean this up a little bit too. And a little bit of silicone on here. Just like that. And then you put it back in the same hole that it came out, and just work it around just to get that lubricant in there. And then we're just going to leave it just like that for now. Next thing we're going to do is you're going to put some silicone. Every place that the brake pad is going to touch, you put silicone. Very important. Everywhere the brake pad touches. All right? Now, you've got two choices. You can put the brake pads into the mounting bracket now, or you can put it in when it's on the vehicle. I'll show you how that's going to work. Now, remember you had the old brake pads that came off. You see this is the new brake pad, but you see this indicator is on the other side? See, this is not the correct one to go on the vehicle. The one that's going to go on the vehicle. All right, actually this one here only has an indicator for the one side, so this one is actually going to go on the other side. Most of the time the brake pads come with two indicators on it, but in this case it only comes with one indicator. So This brake pad is for the other side. Right? And you take your brake pad and you put it in here like this, and it just slides right in place just like that, nice and easy. All right, now you can put this in here or you can do it on the car later on, whatever works for you, just like that. But that's exactly how the brake pads go. All right, so we're going to put this off to the side for now. We're going to get rid of this stuff. And then we're going to talk about the rotor. The rotor itself comes with an oily film on it. You can see all this oil on here. That needs to come off. So we're just going to spray it with some brake cleaner. We're going to wipe it down with a rag, and we're going to get most of the grease off of here. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean, just most of it. Now, these rotors are actually a premium rotor. This is not like the normal one that you buy over the counter at the big box stores. These you pay a little bit more for because they, as you can see, the center of it is actually painted. It's not going to rust and look like garbage. All right? And the reason I'm doing that is because this is open spoked. Okay, so you just spray a little bit on here. And just grab a rag and you can wipe it off. Just like that. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. We're going to spray it here. And then we'll wipe it all down. These are nice rotors. You pay a couple of bucks more than the normal cheaper rotors, but as you can see, it's a really nice rotor. You're not going to have to worry about rusting on this. All right, let's get set up, and we're going to put this job back together. So let me change my gloves, and we'll come right back. Okay, now that we got everything all cleaned down, we're going to take it, we're going to put it back on. I just want to point this out. Make sure you put that little plug back in here to adjust the parking brakes. They have a little opening right here. Make sure you put that back in place. All right, we'll put this back on the way it came off. All right, and now we're going to get in here and we're going to reinstall the mounting bracket and the caliper back over here. Okay, now remember, before we put this back on and we tighten it up all the way, we have to put that the caliper back onto here. So for now, I'm just going to catch the top bolt like this, just to hold this. Just like that. All right? And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our caliper and we're going to put it back on to this bolt right here. Right? And now we're going to screw the bolts in the bottom here. We're going to catch it by hand first. As you can see, it is a little bit of a pain in the rear end. Alright, now we're going to tighten up the bolts. Make sure you caught them by hand. And once you got them caught by hand, then you can tighten it with a wrench, the open end for now, until we snug it down. And then we'll come back in there with the box end. Now, as you saw before, I took those brake pads out of the way because they were actually going to fall. But we're going to put them back in a little bit. tighten these up. And then we're going to tighten the bottom up like we did before with that wrench. Nice and tight. Just check the top one more time. Okay. Alright, we're nice and tight now. Now, this bolt here still moves nice and freely. You can just catch it, 1 or 2 threads on there. And now we're going to put our brake pads back inside here. Where they belong. And then we'll just push our caliper back up. Now this piston didn't push in all the way, so I'm going to show you what we're going to need to do. What you do is you lay a, I don't know if you can see this, let me just set it up and I'll show you. I'll show you. That is the tool that you can use to push the piston back in, and then you just turn it like this. And it pushes the piston all the way back in, just that little bit that it still has to go, like that, see? And then we can take that back out. Take the brake pads out. And now we'll come back. Okay, then you just take this and you put it over the top of your brake pads. Okay, let me just, okay, before you, every place that the brake caliper is going to touch, you put a little bit of grease on like the piston and on the end right here, as well as here. And then we take this, put it over the top, take that pin out, push this in here like this, and then you screw these in as tight as you can by hand. And then we'll tighten this up with a 14mm ratchet. And if you remember correctly, we could not get in here with a ratchet, so we're going to use the box end of a wrench to tighten it up. That's it. Okay, nice and tight. Okay, let me get my gloves off and we're going to go over this and we're going to talk about what I did. Okay, now just to recap exactly what we did. We made sure that the face of the rotor, where it fits onto here on the hub, was nice and clean, which it was. We pushed this on as far as it could go, of course. We changed that little piece over here, the little rubber boot. We put our mounting bracket back on and we tightened up the bolts here and down on the bottom over here. And they're nice and tight. We changed our caliper hardware here. We lubricated every place that the caliper is going to touch, here and here, as well as in the back over here on the piston. We lubricated where the brake pads are going to go. And of course, we lubricated our slide pins right here, and we tightened up both the top and bottom 14mm. All right, this side's all done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go on the other side. We're going to duplicate the other side, and then we're going to continue with the front. So, all right, let's continue. And that's it, we're all set. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in the car, we're going to pump the brake pedal up, and that's it, we're all set. All right, any questions or comments, or you need any advice, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.